Hi, I'm Pastor David with Declaration Church, and I've been thinking a lot lately about just the idea of hope and how there are things that we hope for in life that come to fruition, that are awesome, that are great, and we experience those things and they're amazing. And then there are those times where we put our hope in something, we put our hope in someone, and we are completely let down. Things go terribly wrong, everything is terrible, and we get hurt in the process. Now, there are times where we just hope for something and it doesn't come around and it's not a big deal. And there are other times where we hope for something and what happens instead is much better. But there are times where really, ultimately, we put our trust, we put our faith, we put our hope into something, and it ends up failing us in the end. And there's, in reality, only one place we can put our hope and not have it fail us. You know, I think of all the times that I have placed my hope in, my level of intelligence or my ability to manipulate people or in just all kinds, in other people, in trusting other people to do what is best and what is right, and that I can trust them with my deepest, darkest secrets and find out later that I can't. Believe I can trust somebody with any situation that I might come across and find out not so much. And it ends up being a false hope. A false hope. And what we find in life is that really, at least what I have found in my own experience and what I found in Scripture in Psalm 33, is that there's really only one place we can put our faith and put our hope and not have it fail us in the end. In Psalm 33, verses 16 and 17, we read this. The king is not saved by his great army. A warrior is not delivered by his great strength. The war horse is a false hope for salvation, and by its great might, it cannot rescue. So we look at all of these situations. We look at these things that people depend on all the time. You think of nations around the world. And what do people put their hope in as far as a nation goes, as far as leadership goes? They put it in the military strength of that nation, the financial strength of that nation. They put it in maybe the traditional history of a nation. And we do the same thing in our own lives. We rely on our own strength, our own abilities, our own thoughts, our own wisdom, our own understanding. We lean on everything in the world that we have available to us. We lean on our own financial abilities and our own income. We lean on our jobs, our bosses. We lean on everything. We lean on our best friends. We lean on all kinds of things. And ultimately, we end up leaning on those things. At some point, they fail us. Our strength fails in the end. You see that with professional athletes. Eventually, their body breaks down. They trust their body. They lean on their body to do amazing things that you and I, for the most part, can't do. And eventually, their bodies fail them. It lets them down. They know what they want to do. They know what they should do. And they try to do it, and they can't because they just don't have the physical ability to do it anymore. Our minds eventually begin to slow in most cases, and they begin to fail us. Our knowledge is limited, so we eventually end up in a situation where what we know is not adequate for what we need at the moment. There's only one place we can put our hope that we find never fails, and that is in Jesus. If we place our hope in the Lord, if we place our hope in Jesus, he will never fail us. Now, will he do things that we don't expect and we don't appreciate? Yes, I'm going to be honest with you. There are times God has done things that I have not wanted done in my life, and it hasn't gone the way I wanted it to go. But I know I can trust God. I know him well enough to know that I can trust God. In Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6, it says, trust in the Lord, or trust in Yahweh with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. He will level that ground out around you, so it's harder to stumble, and it's easier to do the things that he requires or is asking of you, to follow his plan and follow his will. He's the one place you can place your hope today, where I know he will never fail you. So I hope that that's encouraging to you. And if you haven't placed your hope and faith in Jesus, I hope you'll talk to somebody that you know or that you assume through their life and have watched and observed in their life that Jesus is actively involved, and talk to them about what it takes to start that process. Because in reality, the only way to really find that hope is to surrender to him. Lay your life in his hands and become a living sacrifice, as Romans 12:1 says. Become a living sacrifice. Lay yourself on the altar of God and say, God, whatever you decide is right for me is right. So hopefully this is encouraging to you. Hopefully this is challenging to you and has brought you some new understanding, some hope, and an understanding of where to place your hope so that you're never failed. If this video has been encouraging to you, been challenging to you, been a blessing to you, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Give it that like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure you click on the bell so that you're also notified when we put up new content. As always, I'm Pastor David, and I'm out.